In 2012, presidential candidate Akufo-Addo was asked how he would tackle corruption, and his answer caused a stare. He would use the ANAS principle, he said.
Setting up highly motivated professional groups of young people who will work undercover to unearth examples of corruption wherever they can find it. What I call the ANAS principle.
Akufo-Addo would go on to lose the 2012 election, resulting in a Supreme Court petition, which he eventually also lost.
Atububa Adeyira Bafubani Gwedegwe and Akotobamfu JJSC dismissed the claim of Obabot.
The Supreme Court of our nation has spoken. The result of the December 2012 presidential election, whilst I disagree with the court's decision, I accept it.
After two failed attempts in 2008 and 2012.
Today, this year, the lowest rate of growth in our history in the last 22 years under the watch of Mahama. And he is saying, with these statistics, that we should give him another chance. We are not going to give him another 4 years.
2016 would finally turn out to be the year for Akufo-Addo.
I,
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo,
having been elected to the high office of President of the Republic of Ghana,
having been elected to the high office of the President of the Republic of Ghana.
Akufo-Addo's inaugural address was filled with the promise of a new dawn.
A new dawn has arisen in Ghana, which will enable us to build a new Ghanaian civilization, which will be the beacon of Africa and the wonder of the world.
The early days seemed equally as promising, with social interventions such as NAPCO and free SHS.
From today onwards, no child will ever be denied senior high school education simply because his or her family is unable to afford it.
And the pushing of the Ghana Beyond Aid agenda.
Since I became president, I've been advocating for a Ghana, indeed an Africa beyond aid. We have to get away from this mindset of dependence, this mindset about what can France do for us.
Then, in the second year, we released number 12.
The penalty.
Tiger Eye's football investigation rocked the very core of the sport in the country, shocking the entire nation and resulting in government moving to dissolve the Ghana Football Association.
When they went to the port with the custom officials, I know some people were punished. So minimum, we expect that some people will be sanctioned. It shows gross incompetence.
Many people are lacking of everything, but poverty is not an excuse for dishonesty.
In the aftermath of number 12, Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy Ajapong, launched an attack on Tiger Eye, raining abuse and threatening to expose our reporters.
We are very dangerous. What in Madina here? We share maybe a panasu or buy a premises. Me.
His smear campaign led to the cover of our lead investigator, Ahmed Hussein Swale being blown. Ahmed was eventually assassinated by unknown assailants in January 2019.
A Ghanaian undercover journalist has been shot dead. Ahmed Hussein Swale was a member of Tiger Eye Private Investigations. He was driving home in the capital, Accra, when reports say men on motorbikes shot him 3 times.
Instrumental in a wide-reaching expose into corruption in Ghana football, about which the BBC Africa Eye program made a documentary.
Surprisingly, there was relative silence from the presidency, apart from a social media post and a statement from the government. The president would later go on to say Ahmed's death could have been as a result of another crime. Press freedom was under massive threat.
I really got worried after I received the news of Ahmed Swale's death. It was so gruesome, the way he died. Bullets to the neck, to the chest, just for, trying to help the state become a better place. And for Ahmed Swale to die that way really triggered a wave of terror, a wave of worry in the realm of undercover, I must say. And that really got many of us to take a break, hide ourselves even more than we ever did in times past, hide our families.
And one would have thought that Anas and his men would have been applauded for what they did, but sinister motives were displayed in certain circles, exemplified by Canada Japan, an MP who was an MP and still an MP, who openly on the television incited violence, invited people to finish him up, and within days it happened.
And then came the Galamsey menace. Illegal small-scale mining was and still is wreaking havoc among land and water resources in Ghana. The Akufo-Addo government promised to end it by establishing the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. When we went undercover on the status quo, the findings were nasty. We found members of the committee willing to take money to betray their very mandate, including the secretary, Charles Basu. After glaring evidence of corruption, Basu was left off the hook with no punishment whatsoever. Followed by lies.
So in the video you can tell that I wasn't even interested. I didn't know what was really happening.
I never took bribe, but Ocean way in it, no book straight to the bottom, no to go about no being in time on one or the punishing.
March 2020. 31 days the world is not likely to soon forget.
COVID brought the world to a standstill.
Fellow Ghanaians, these are not ordinary times. So let us all put our shoulders to the wheel. And I'm confident that together, by the grace of God, we shall overcome this challenge.
And Ghana began to get things wrong. More controversy came in the name of the National Cathedral.
Since gaining our freedom and independence from the British colonial power, Ghana has so far been spared civil war, famine, and epidemics. And the construction of the cathedral will be an act of thanksgiving to the Almighty for his blessings, favor, grace, and mercies on our nation.
With the government rallying citizens to pay for its construction.
It was not a nationalistic cathedral, but somebody promised it, and they loaded it on us to contribute. In the first place, they told us that we were not going to contribute a quota, for which reason Duncan William or Katia said we should shut up, because the cathedral was going to be built on their own resources that will be guarded, not the taxpayers' money.
Not to talk of the scandal of top ruling party officials like Chairman Wontumi involved in mining.
2021, August 19th. Now I can tell mine and I command the Regional Security Council. Say omumano security men. Na omufanko asase abandi amano so. Na Galamsey for abasas is not to me. These illegal miners have been mining on our concession and in water bodies. I am by this correspondence therefore launching a formal complaint to your outfit to assist us with necessary security detail to arrest all such illegal mining.
Well, you recall that the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry made a declaration that no license has been issued for mineral prospecting in any forest reserve across the area and even in the country as well.
And using gun violence to consolidate gains and intimidate others.
The video of thugs and bandits belonging to Chairman Wontumi engaging in an armed combat. Hey. These are the bandits we are talking about.
What's that kind of
Meanwhile, the economy is now in a huge mess.
The beginning of the year, you could actually get $1 for 6 cedis, but currently $1 is actually going for 9 cedis, 39 pesos.
The dollar is hitting the roof. It's getting to 14 Ghana cedis.
The truth of the matter is that Ghana has borrowed so much that investors now know for sure
that we may not be able to pay that money back.
With inflation at an all-time high, cost of living skyrocketing, and the cedi proving to be the worst performing currency in the world.
Our debt is simply unsustainable. Because of that, investors are deserting our markets. That is leading the government to borrow from domestic markets because it cannot get international investors to supplement. In so doing, it is generating additional forces in the economy that are creating inflation because of the crowding out effect. And the fact that that inflation leads investors to try and dump cedi assets and move it to the dollar is damaging our currency.
It remains to be seen how the country will wriggle its way out of its current economic woes.
I think it's an issue of willingness and obedience to what Christ would like us to do. Honest, good job done over that period, yes.
Until such persons are made to resign or removed,
He should not stay a single day longer.
This is the time, Your Excellency, to make changes.
IMF has never been an economic strategy.
Tell the Ghanaian public that this is the last time we are going to IMF. You are a liar.
But the man said COVID came in to spoil all the plans.
those stories.
They are
asking questions. The streets, they're asking questions.
It is obvious, fellow Ghanaians, that you have a government that cares.
Long before we got into this economic mess, tongues had been wagging on issues of scratch my back and I scratch yours, and conflict of interest issues at the Ministry of Finance regarding Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and his former company Databank, as well as Charles Edubwahine as Minister of State, formerly of Black Star Brokerage. Tiger Eye decided to investigate, and this is what we found. On June 1st, 2021, the Ministry of Finance released a statement to clear itself of any wrongdoing on the part of Ken Ofori-Atta and Charles Edubwahine on both conflict of interest and abuse of office regarding their former companies. The selection process for firms to act as primary dealers and bond market specialists is based only on merit. The Minister of Finance or his deputies have absolutely no hand in the selection process. The process cannot be subject to any manipulations, the statement from the ministry said.
No, Black Star Securities, Edubwahine's company, had next to zero market share at the time they were made part of this whole bond, acquisition and sale process.
While the ministry statement contends that the minister and his deputies have no hand at all in the selection of companies, Regulation 169 of LI 2378, Public Financial Management Regulation 2019, gives him and his deputies the power and authority to approve all companies in the sector. Ken Ofori-Atta and his Minister of State, therefore, approved their own Databank and Black Star Brokerage. Tiger Eye also observed that Regulation 165 of the LI gives the minister the power to sell government securities. There has been a sale of government securities to Databank for onward sale. Ken Ofori-Atta, as minister, sells the securities to his own former bank, Databank, where he still holds a significant percentage of shares despite resigning from his official positions. Would this not amount to conflict of interest, contrary to Article 284 of the 1992 Constitution? As a country, how do we ensure that we enact relevant laws to prevent coming finance ministers with financial institutions from using their position to assist their own firms or friends? According to Ken Ofori-Atta in Parliament, his company Databank has made 151 million Ghana cedis, while his Minister of State, Charles Edubwahine's Black Star Brokerage, has raked in millions of cedis. Should these companies not be made to account for the millions they've accrued as a result of the conflict of interest and abuse of office issues? Again, can a minister just dip his hand into the consolidated fund and withdraw money without parliamentary approval? Article 178 of the 1992 Constitution is clear that he cannot do so without parliamentary approval. He withdrew an amount of 199 million Ghana cedis for the construction of the National Cathedral without parliamentary approval.
The truth of the matter is that a lot of the projects on which we've spent money, for which reason we've borrowed way beyond our capacity to pay back, are simply projects that were cooked to put money in the pockets of people that are powerful and close to other powerful people, essentially cronies of the government. Many of the projects are simply projects that have been cooked to enrich cronies of the government. We must take a scalpel through the national budget and cut every single sign of waste, because if we don't do that, we will not be able to create a credible reform plan with or without the IMF.
The year 2017 was the beginning of what has become known as the Ghana banking crisis. It lasted between August 2017 and January 2020. The Bank of Ghana, BOG, allowed several indigenous banks to be taken over by private companies between August 2017 and January 2019 after Nana Akufo-Addo was elected president in December 2016.
They are going to provide financial resources to support the indigenous banks that would need help in raising the 400 million minimum paid up capital that's required. And number three, they have also said that they are going to be more diligent in ensuring that good governance prevails. That it has been said that nobody is going to lose their money if they have given their monies to licensed banking institutions. We will not have this panic withdrawals continue, okay? Because it is going on, and it has gone on because people have been afraid.
The crisis is the most severe economic crisis to affect Ghana since it became an independent country in 1960. During this time, the Tiger Eye team became concerned about this and its implications on the economy. Why was this happening? Who was in charge of these decisions? Was the seeming alertness by the economic managers just a flash in the pan or meant to last? Months before Ahmed was brutally shot by yet-to-be-identified gunmen, Tiger Eye went undercover as investors willing to pump money into the Ghanaian economy. The plan was to invest close to $500 million into the banking sector and in other projects, and we wanted those who could lead us to the relevant power players to make it happen. We met with several people who promised to help. They included businessmen, so-called fixers, and even a top Ghanaian lawyer who gave us astute legal advice. He rightfully advised us to retain 75% control of the bank we wanted to set up and leave the remaining 25% for a local partner. Yet, none of them came close to the state minister, who's not only a public servant betraying public trust, but a top keeper of Ghana's purse, Charles Edubuahene, then the Deputy Minister for Finance.
I say that I should explain to you for your own respect. It's not good for him to have every discussion with you outside. He says that it's also tuned to their royal way of having discussion with their guests. You will have discussion with him or her in the open, and then you will dive into a closed door meeting. So that's what, if you like, as he said, out there are true. Basically, it's about the contracts, and then it's also about the money. So the money, we have not touched it there, for we wanted that one to be done there. So they have money, but sometimes how to control those money and all of that, you need to be careful. The West will tag you as supporting terrorists or being terrorists.
No, I totally understand. And you know, for me, it's not really about money. You know, I'm really committed to my country, and we want to see it grow. And we can only make it grow if we have investors like you. You know, of course, you know, we all like money, but that is not the main thing. The main thing is for development.
They say they have some money that they want to mobilize all of them and then put it into an account in Ghana. And he says that he wants all of that to depend on you. And that for when it comes to whatever you would be entitled to ransom, there's no chase.
No problem. But should that be, would it be in an account within, if we open a bank for you or open a separate?
He says that when it comes to this call, he will largely depend on your advice. However, if he can get it to even start, whilst we are on the process of opening this bank, he will learn it that way.
No problem. Okay, not a problem.
Edubuahene was then presented with some money by the investigators who posed as investors as part of the undercover sting.
He would like to know the percentage that he would take. For him, it is not a problem.
You know, it's hard to come up with a percentage because I don't know the amount of work involved.
When it comes to the percentages, he said that, for instance, if it is about 100, let's say million. He said that's too small figure for me to mention. What he's saying is that he made a mistake. When you enter a chief status, there's a reason why chiefs gives you a quota. So he should have offered that quota for you to do shopping. So this money is basically for a shopping. As of almost before we finish our discussion.
Thank you very much.
He says that he knows whatever that I like that you do in the form of challenge. But this is just to come from shopping. And we want to do a lot of businesses in Ghana. So once we give him an indication of the percentage, and we can work it out.
After being briefed of our plan, Edubuahene offered to earn 20% commission on the potential deal and mapped out a strategy we could use. Before then, he admitted to owning a real estate company, opening himself up to conflict of interest issues.
And you know, it's like, let me give you an example, right? I own myself a real estate company. So we do a lot of real estate. You know, we just finished an office block. We do residential, blah, blah, blah. You know, usually the projects are about 15 million or 20 million. So now, if we said, I want to do 2 projects, you know, each one we're building affordable housing, we want to do 1,000 units of affordable housing, it will cost $50 million or something. So, coming with me, let's share that, you know, put it in as equity. We normally would make a return of maybe 25% return, 30% on our equity investment when we do these projects. So then you say, okay, fine. If I bring the whole 50 million for the project, you know, 20% of it is yours. You know, whatever return you make on that 20%, you give that one. I take all 10% or something like that. That's the way we can do it. Or we can say that, okay, fine. You know, put the money to work, invest in so and so, we'll give you a 10% finance fee, and then we'll give you a share of whatever return we make on top of it, you know. That is something we can do. So it's up to you and how you're comfortable and how you want to work. I don't want to make any money without having worked for it. Really working for money.
He says it is close to somewhere $500 million. And therefore, if they can get that money as soon as possible into Ghana, so that we can use it to start some of this commitment that they are not trying to do in Ghana to do very well.
No problem. And okay, let me think about that, because I think we can manage something. It shouldn't be a problem. Maybe not. You can't do all at once. We have to start, gradually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He mentioned that. I forgot to add that.
Yeah.
If we are looking at the figure of $500 million, how much percentage those who are going to involve, because you will lead them?
Yes. Okay.
How much do you think that you should be entitled to? For him, that's how he is. From the word go, he wants to know in clear cut what are the person I'm negotiating with. What would be your cut?
Okay. What do you think is fair? I'm thinking for $1 million.
He says that for him, if he offers you anything, it will be unfair even to you.
No.
It is not expected.
No. It's important that he tells me what he thinks.
That would be unfair. It is important for you who is selling to say, okay, this is the quantity the 1,000 is worth of. He believes in that kind of scenario of you.
It's tough. Sheikh, what's the right address? What should I call you?
Yeah, Sheikh.
Sheikh.
Yes, every prince is Sheikh.
Okay. Sheikh, 20%.
You'll be happy. Once all of this is done, we can extend you to the rest of the places and work it out as quick as possible.
I'm surprised. I thought you said, oh.
So he's so interested in you leading him to the powers that be. He said he knows you are part of the powers that be. However, he wants you to lead them to other powers that be, so that we can, once we are establishing in Ghana, we should have that influence as well. And you will commit money to this project as well.
He spoke about how the Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia will be key to the plan at the operational level and how it is important for us to know him.
You know, I was just saying to Isaac that I have to introduce you to the Vice President. The Vice President is a very good man. And he used to be the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. So if I tell him you want to come open this on your bank, he'll be very happy. You know, and he's a good guy. I'm very close to him, good relationship to have. So I was even thinking about that already, to see him and we can arrange. In fact, he was supposed to be coming to go with us to Singapore, but he couldn't make it. It was, so we have to arrange, but I think it's important that it's somebody that we bring in to understand, you know, and if you can support him. You know, in 2020, we'll be going into an election year. And, you know, we need to have a lot of resources at our disposal. You know, and so if we can start building a relationship, he knows he has your support. Because he's a politician. Me, I'm not a big politician. I don't do politics like this. But
you say you hold political position.
I will do. My father used to run for president. So you know, the family is political. But you know, my father was Professor Edward.
Oh wow! Wow, Professor of History.
Yes. As soon as you can, I have to introduce it to him, because you know, even if I'm going to handle something like this, is somebody that I have to bring in, but you know, at some level, not every detail, but I'll leave that to you. But it is important that you get to know him.
He also spoke about how President Nana Akufo-Addo is like his uncle, having been the former campaign manager for his late father, Professor Edubwine.
If we 11 president himself is also like my uncle. So he was my father's campaign manager when I was running office. So he will also make it, but at the operational level, the vice president is the one who handles everything. So he's the guy we should work with.
This thing that is good, that all this information is however, when it comes to presidents, vice presidents, do you suggest anything they should be preparing them in mind so that they can start putting some minds?
You mean like appearance fees?
Yeah, like if whether we are meeting them or they are meeting us as well. And if we have that opportunity or privilege, what are some of the things that we have to do?
The vice president is very keen to see investment into the country. So if you come with 3 or 4 projects, you say, look, we are doing this, we're doing that, we're prepared to write a check for this, right?
According to Eduwaine, the vice president has a large family of siblings who have to be put in charge of various projects in order for the plan to work.
He has a big family. The vice president has like 5 or 6 brothers and sisters. So what maybe will happen, you tell them that, hey, look, I want to do this project. Do you have somebody that I can work with that you introduce me to? And then you use that to maybe put his brother to work with us on one particular project. That's how we work.
Giving the vice president $200,000 as a thank you token would be enough, Eduwaine said.
I mean, he himself, if you give him some 200,000 or something as a token, thank you, appreciate, that's fine. It's not really a very, it's not really that. All he needs to worry about is his campaign money in 2020. You see what I'm saying? And his development of businesses, So, there are some areas that he's very keen about that we've been working on. The railways, development of the railways, bauxite refinery, some things, So once we go, we sit down with him and you demonstrate that you're very keen to invest. I don't think it will be a problem. Especially the bank. If you tell him about the bank, he'll be very happy.
We'll keep communication and then see how we factor all of this thing out.
How do you like to communicate? Is it through you or how?
He says he's in Ghana. Okay. So if any other communication you can pass it
Thank you very much.
Eduwaine admitted that the cash gift would do a lot of shopping and then proceeded to gather it into a polythene bag.
We'll do a lot of shopping. Should I put it in a bag?
Yeah.
After which he left the meeting, visibly satisfied.
Really nice. Nice to see you. Thank you very much.
The lack of due diligence by a government minister was baffling to us. Was this how government officials conduct business that concerns an entire country?
Until we are able to sacrifice the desires and the benefits of the powerful for the many, no one will trust Ghana to start bringing their money back. We will continue to totter on the brink, and if we don't take care, we're going to march straight into Armageddon.
It has been months since we concluded this investigation. Looking at where our economy currently is, we ask ourselves if government, through the questionable conduct of some of its officials, is to blame for its own woes. Maybe it is time to stop blaming external factors and begin to look within. Maybe we need to start working on our own selves. God bless our homeland, Ghana.